Between 2006 and 2008, I had the rare opportunity to step back in time, aboard one of the aviation's most iconic jets, the Boeing 707. While most airlines had long retired the type, Iran's Saha Air was still flying these classics on domestic routes. Over 3 years, I managed to complete 8 flights, from Tehran to 3 different destinations. And today, I want to share that unique experience with you. Back then, Tehran Mashhad Airport was the main domestic hub. For an aviation enthusiast, it was almost like a time machine. While most of the world had moved on to Airbuses and Boeings of the 1990s and 2000s, here you could still find the thunder of 4 Pratt & Whitney JT3D engines echoing across the tarmac. Saha Air 707s were Iranian Air Force aircraft, rugged and full of character. Boarding felt different, no jet bridges here. You walked from the bus across the tarmac, hearing the whine of the auxiliary power unit, feeling the sheer presence of a 4-engine classic. The moment you stepped inside, it was like stepping into the 1970s. The seats, the open overhead racks, the smell of aviation fuel and old fabrics. It all told the story of another era. The takeoff was unforgettable. The 4 JT3Ds roared to life, rattling the cabin as the aircraft thundered down Mashhad's runway. From my seat, through the dusty and weathered window, I could see the turbojet engines, a sight you don't see on modern jets anymore. Once airborne, the cabin settled into a steady rumble, loud, raw and very alive. Looking out the window, Iran unfolded beneath us. Mountain ranges, deserts, and the occasional towns and streets. My flights took me between Tehran and 3 destinations. Mashhad, one of Iran's holiest cities, Asaluyeh, a port town of the Persian Gulf, and Kish Island, Iran's free trade zone. These were not touristic flights, they were real domestic services filled with families, workers and travelers. I was often the only foreigner on board, and I was noticeably welcomed with a bit of skepticism by the crew and fellow passengers, especially from the members of the Revolutionary Guard that were on every flight. That's also why I don't have any pictures or videos from the cabin itself. For me, the destination almost didn't matter. It was all about the journey aboard the 707. What I loved the most were the little details, the look and smell of the cabin, the view and old-school sound of the engines, and the changes of sound pitches of the engines when spooling up for takeoff and reverse thrust. Even the air inside the cabin had a different feel. Pressurization felt lighter, the humming noise constant, but somehow it all added to the magic. The Boeing 707 was the aircraft that changed global aviation. By the time I flew Saha Air, no other passenger airline in the world was still operating them, only a few cargo airlines. These flights weren't just trips, they were living history. Each takeoff felt like a privilege, knowing that one day they would be gone for good. And now they are. In the years that followed, Saha Air gradually retired its Boeing 707s. Today, none are left in passenger service. Looking back, I feel incredibly lucky. 8 flights, 3 different aircraft, and memories that no modern airliner could replicate. When I think about those flights, I don't just remember the noise, the look, or the scenery. I remember the feeling of traveling through time, of experiencing aviation history firsthand. The Boeing 707 may be gone from passenger skies, but for me, those flights with Saha Air will always be some of the most unforgettable journeys I've ever taken. Thank you for watching. Till next time, bye for now.